Welcome to this presentation on the MA in Gender and Sexuality Studies. If that's okay, I'll just leave it as it is, like this. As you can see, the chairpersons are myself, Olga Springer, and Mr. Jean-Philippe Ambert, my colleague from the School of Applied Language and Intercultural Studies. And I am also a lecturer in the School of Applied Language and Intercultural Studies. The MA in Gender and Sexuality Studies is designed to give you an in-depth background knowledge relating to today's societal debates and perspectives around gender and sexuality. And if you are keen to learn about, to analyze, and to understand SOGI matters in Irish, European, and global contexts, then you will enjoy taking this MA in Gender and Sexuality Studies. And I'll just give you a brief introduction to it now. So I'm starting with some general information. This is a year-long full-time program. It is housed in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences within Dublin City University. And there are several schools involved in the delivery of this program. So as I already said, we have SALIS, which is short for the School of Applied Language and Intercultural Studies. We have the School of Communications, School of Law and Government, the School of Theology, Philosophy and Music, and the School of History and Geography involved with modules. And all modules delivered on this program will be level 9. And the module offering itself is, of course, school dependent. Entry requirements. You would have an undergraduate degree at H22 or above, and you can come from any undergraduate discipline to take part in the MA. And we also have the option to do interviews for applicants without an undergraduate degree, but who have proof of relevant professional experience. So please do contact myself or Jean-Philippe if you have further questions about the entry requirements. Okay, so how is this MA structured? First of all, you will develop your understanding of processes and variations in sexual culture, sexual identities, and of course, gender role formation. You will learn about social, cultural, historical, and ethical foundations of gender and sexuality at personal and societal levels. And I think the involvement of all these schools from the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences also shows you that we are attempting to really give you a very broad range of perspectives here, of different disciplinary perspectives on gender and sexuality. And of course, you will acquire knowledge through cross-disciplinary teaching and research, for example, in advocacy in gender and sexuality studies, gender and sexual literacy, and also well-being and social justice. So there is this wider societal perspective. And how we attempt to deliver this, I will show to you now. Here are our core modules. So we have 2 core modules in semester 1 that all students will be taking, and 2 core modules in semester 2 that all students will be taking. And then we have a year-long research methods module that also all students will be taking. So these 5, everybody will take. I'll just say a few words about each of the core modules for semester 1 and semester 2. And I'm starting with the first one, Gender and Sexuality Theories and Criticism. In this module, you will be introduced to the history and critical theories of gender and sexuality studies, and you will explore the social construction of gender and sexual identity in contemporary societies, and also the intersection with other categories, such as race, class, religion, or disability. You will also explore frameworks and concepts relating to feminist masculinities and queer studies in this module. I'm moving on now to the second one from the top, the representations and construction of gender and sexuality in literature and the arts, which I will be teaching. And I should add, apologies, that my colleague, Dr. Alicia Castillo Villanueva, will be teaching the first module, also from SALIS. And I will be teaching the second one, which explores how gendered subjectivities and representations of gender and sexuality are constructed in art, mainly in literary texts, but we will also look at film and the performative and the visual arts. And we'll explore how these narrative forms work to establish and to subvert stereotypes of masculinity, femininity, and further modes of gender and sexual identity. And among the texts that we will be looking at are Alison Bechdel's Fun Home, which you may have heard of. It's a graphic novel. It's brilliant. Hervé Guibert's To the Friend Who Did Not Save My Life, which explores a life during the AIDS epidemic in Paris. And Kim de l'Horizon's Blood Book, which only came out in 2022 and has won both the German and the Swiss Book Prize very recently. So we'll have a broad range. We'll look far and also close to home in terms of the sources that we will be analyzing in this module. So I'm moving on to semester 2 now, Gender and Sexuality in Digital Culture, which will be delivered by my colleague, Dr. Debbie Ging from the School of Communications. In this module, you will explore a broad range of issues relating to gender, sex, and sexuality as they are mediated through various aspects of digital culture, from internet pornography and social networking sites to online dating and digital gender politics. You will use theoretical frameworks taken from gender and sexuality studies, as well as media studies, of course, and explore the impact of recent social, economic, and technological developments on sexual behavior and intimacy, gender politics, and sexual identity construction. And I will now move on to the last core module in semester 2, which is delivered by my colleague, Dr. Paola Rivetti from the School of Law and Government, entitled Gender and Politics. And in this module, you will be introduced to the study of gender and politics, looking into issues that are related to how societies organize, how international politics work, and how economic structures are formed and develop. And you will analyze major political, economic, and social events and processes from a gendered perspective. Okay. And then, of course, we have the year-long research methods module, where you will be sort of given the tools to conduct academic research, and then also in the end, if you choose that path, to write a dissertation. Here are the options, and of these options, you can select 2 over the course of both semesters. So we have Gender, Sexuality and Migration, delivered by Mr. Jean-Philippe Imbert from the School of Applied Language and Intercultural Studies. Then we have Gender, Masculinities and Colonialism from the School of Law and Government, and another module from the School of Law and Government, Law, Ethics and the Person. Then we have 2 modules from the School of Theology, Philosophy and Music, Human Rights and Social Justice on the one hand, and Gender and Religion in Late Antiquity. And finally, School of History and Geography, Gender and Society in Ireland since 1867. And the idea with these options is that you have the choice and you can sort of choose what direction you would like your studies to take. Okay, I just want to point out the study and research environment that you will join here in DCU. We have the really well-established research network EROS, which stands for Expressions, Research Orientations, Sexuality Studies. And EROS is a very lively hub for conferences, workshops, invited speakers, which will of course also sort of interact with us on the MA, and we will also have plenty of interesting and exciting guest speakers, of course, in our lectures. And as a second institution, as kind of a component of the environmental climate that you can find here, we have the Institute for Research on Genders and Sexualities, which is newly established here, but which also shows that, within DCU and in the faculty, we are moving towards becoming a little hub for gender and sexuality studies. And of course, we would also be interacting with this institute, and students are always encouraged to go to additional events that may be put on. Okay, lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about possible career paths on this that may be open to you after you have completed the program. So, of course, PhD research is at the top of the list. If you find you are interested in one particular aspect and you really feel like you want to explore that in this great academic depth, then that may be for you. It could be in a variety of disciplines, really. Think of political science, think of media studies, think of literary and cultural studies, potentially history, philosophy. Those may be directions, that sort of catch your eye, that inspire you, and really want to make you want to take that longer path down the academic road. You may work in cultural and artistic environments after completing the MA. We also have civic or charitable organizations that focus on migrancy, just as examples: migrancy, homelessness, refugee and integration. Yeah, it can be very pertinent to have a gender and sexuality focus that allows you to see certain processes and procedures in a different light. Reproductive health education, research or training, and prevention facilities, of course. Policymakers in research or public policy institutions, that may be another pathway for you. Media and journalism. Service provision and training for service providers in hospitals, clinics, nursing homes, and of course rape crisis centers or AIDS, HIV treatment and care centers. Research policy and education provision in gay and lesbian agencies and community centers. So you see sort of what direction this is, and of course there's a multitude of further career choices, that you may already have sort of somewhere in the back of your mind. You might have a specific idea already, or you may be very open, and you might find your direction while you're doing the MA. So lastly, I just want to invite you to please ask all the questions that you may have now. And of course, you're also more than welcome to contact myself or Jean-Philippe afterwards. I just want to say, and apologies, I forgot to put it on the slides. I just want to say my email address. It's Olga, olga.springer@dcu.ie. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. And like I said, please don't hesitate to contact me or ask your questions now.